When a person's starting out in business as a CRO, they don't come into the credit business thinking that they're going to become a marketer. They come in thinking, well, I'm going to become a credit expert. But then as they start going through the process, that's when they realize, well, I need to get more clients. So how do I do that? What do I say in my ad? How do I create these graphics? Do I need to pay someone to design this or shoot video? How do you know if it's compliant so you're not breaking any rules? What I'm going to show you here today will produce clients for your business. And it's going to be all powered through ChatGPT and the CRC Marketing Hub. So all you have to do is just copy and paste.
Hey, credit heroes. If you have a credit repair business and you've ever thought, I can't afford ads yet, this episode is for you. Our guest today has built 8-figure sales teams, trained thousands of entrepreneurs, and created a simple ad system that helps credit pros attract the right audience, build trust, and grow fast without wasting a dollar. And today he's going to walk you through it step by step, how to create ad messages that work, where to start if you're on a small budget, and how to use powerful tools inside Credit Repair Cloud to make it all easier. So please welcome to the podcast, Max Knowles. Hey, Max.
Hey, Daniel. How are you?
Hey, Max. Yeah,
hey,
welcome.
Keenan.
I'm doing awesome. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Oh, doing great. Super excited to be here with both of you and the rest of the CRC family. Excited to connect and share.
Yeah, this is going to be great because it's exactly what our audience needs. Now, before we dive into all your strategies and the ad formula, I want to know a little more about you. Like, where'd you grow up? Where are you now? And what was your life like before building the famous group?
Well, so I'm originally from South Florida, Miami, and my introduction to business ownership happened at a really young age. In fact, going into college, I got introduced to my first business. It was in direct sales. And so that's kind of where I cut my teeth in learning about marketing and communicating with people and leadership and building teams. And for the next decade or so, spent my time building a business where I was able to do extremely well, applying a lot of the concepts and principles that you guys teach to your audience, through your podcasts and whatnot. But then a couple years back, we decided to move to Seattle, Washington. I have a daughter who lives out here, so my wife and I wanted to be closer to her. So we made that transition. But the entire process, we've been doing marketing since even before 2017, since 2004, marketing and sales and all that. It just so happens that we started our agency in the financial space in 2017. And that's obviously how we all connected here a few years back.
I know you've built huge sales teams. You now run a top growth agency. What specifically made you want to help credit repair pros?
So it's interesting because when we started our marketing agency back in 2017, we didn't really have a specific niche that we were going to cater to. It was more like, well, let's see who we can help. And through my relationships I had in business, some folks that I knew had started their own credit repair businesses, and they were doing extremely well. And they had come to me because they knew about my background in building teams and optimizing systems. They're like, hey, can you help us out with getting some leads and getting customers for our credit business? We had never done marketing for credit or anything at that point. So this was kind of how we got introduced to the industry. And through working with the initial batch of clients, we saw really how amazing it was. We were able to really help them generate a lot of business in a short window of time. And that also educated us on the importance of financial literacy, because a lot of people that were coming to the table, these were good people, but just in bad situations. We locked arms with a few organizations back then, and we kind of helped them build out their infrastructure. Then as a result, word of mouth, people started hearing about what we were doing. One thing led to the next. We were able to kind of create a systematic approach to helping scale organizations, utilizing Instagram and Facebook ads, and then obviously plugging into a system like what Credit Repair Cloud offers folks, so they can ultimately scale their back end. So that's kind of how it all happened. It happened by accident, but we ended up falling in love with the industry. But more importantly, the bigger mission of helping empower people to get educated on financial literacy.
Awesome.
Max, before we get into things too much, I'd love to know just like how many credit repair businesses over the years, around how many have you served, and how many credit repair businesses have you served that are in the millions of dollars?
Yeah, it's a great question. So since 2017, there has been hundreds of clients that we have been able to help. I'm sure you guys can imagine. I mean, one of our biggest, sources of new clients are folks who are part of the CRC community, right? So the exact number I don't know, but I can tell you it's in the thousands. Some of the bigger clients for sure. I would say the majority of the 6-figure and 7-figure earners that you guys talk about and promote, I see them in your ads and stuff like that, our clients or were clients at one point. And the benefit of that is that it's given us a lot of insight, seeing all different type of organizations that have all different type of culture, services, products that do things differently. And that's what's kind of given us an edge, because we're not coming in with a narrow view. We have quite a big perspective of seeing what's worked back then, obviously what's changed in the last year and a half, and who's been able to evolve, and that's the biggest thing. The companies that have been able to evolve and do things right and have built things on a right foundation of integrity, those are the companies that are winning today. But yes, it's in the thousands since 2017.
What mindset shift do you think people need to make before they'll finally get marketing? Because marketing is confusing to a lot of people and scary.
When a person's starting out in business, let's just do it specifically as a CRO. They start their credit business. They don't come into the credit business thinking that they're going to become or have to learn how to be a marketer. They come in thinking, well, I'm going to become a credit expert. But then as they start going through the process, that's when they realize, well, I need to get more clients. So how do I do that? And then they start going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out how to do marketing. As a result, they end up getting off track and spend all their time thinking about how to do marketing to get customers, when originally they started their business because they wanted to help people fix and repair, credit. So for folks who are coming in thinking that it's hard and it's overwhelming, it is. But with the systems that are in place that I'm going to go over today, anybody, whether you know how to use Facebook, Instagram or not, if you follow what I'm going to cover here today, you'll be able to set ads up like a marketing pro. And I want to let you know, it's never been easier than it is today to grow your business, because obviously Credit Repair Cloud has launched something really exciting with the Marketing Hub. So they're equipping everybody with all the advanced ninja marketing tools that normally you'd be paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for. You're getting that as part of being a customer of Credit Repair Cloud, right? So now what I'm going to show people how to do is take the tools that are at their disposal, how to leverage ChatGPT so they can become marketing ninjas in like 15 minutes.
I can't wait. Why don't we get into this now?
Sure, let's do it. All right. So I do want to preface this because there's going to be a lot of info I'm going to throw at you. Good thing is it's not going to be overly complicated. I'm going to be going back and forth between actually showing you how to do things and then going through the conversation. I want to make this as though I'm sitting right with that person, that new CRO who's watching this. I want them to feel like I'm sitting with them and we're going through the ad setup together. What I want to do today is I'm going to show the audience how to create meta ads. And people are always asking, what is meta? Well, meta is the new name for Facebook and Instagram, right? So it's the same thing. So meta ads that convert. So not just a boosted post, not organic post. We're talking about actual ads where you're putting some money behind, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but at least you know that what I'm going to show you here today will produce potential clients for your business. And it's going to be all powered through two very important resources: ChatGPT, which everybody has access to now, and a CRC Marketing Hub, which obviously CRC subscribers have access to. So if you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you jump on so you can get access to the CRC Marketing Hub. So if we can jump right in, we're going to go over the agenda. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the actual process of creating an ad. And this is where people do get overwhelmed. They're like, well, what do I say in my ad? How do I create these graphics? Do I need to pay someone to design this or shoot video? Don't worry, I'm going to show you a quick fix to knock this out in 5 minutes or less. From there, how to actually set up your first campaign. If you've ever logged into the Facebook Business Manager or Ads Manager, it can be extremely overwhelming. Don't worry, there's a solution for that. Again, I can show you how to set up your first campaign in 5 minutes. And then the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you, this is pretty much like the X factor here, how to use the CRC Marketing Hub, which has a feature called Conversation AI, how you can start training your first AI within 5 minutes so that AI can handle all inbound messages from the prospects that are coming in from your ads. So for the folks here who are like, well, I don't know all the answers. I don't know everything there is to know about credit repair yet. I don't know if I can talk to strangers. Well, don't worry. First of all, you're not talking to them. You're going to have your AI doing all the talking all through the chat, DMs, or text message. So that's what we're going to cover here today. I'm super excited to get right into it. And obviously, I told you already about my background. My name is Max. My partner, which is also my wife, Deanna, we run the Famous Group together. And together, we've worked with a lot of different CROs through the years and helping them build their business. And just a heads up, everything I'm going to cover, you can download for free. Obviously, you just go to the link, thefamousgroup.com/CRC slides. It'll include the slide deck I'm going over. It'll include all the prompts I'm going to go over, the knowledge base, and the workflow setup. So literally, you're going to have an entire marketing machine that people would normally pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for. You're going to have access to all that information here after we're done here today. So let's get right into the first part, which is creating your first meta ads campaign. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this part because this part is pretty straightforward. You can't set up an ad unless you have a Facebook page. Can we agree on that, right? So you've got to set up a business page first. And, the easiest way to figure out if you don't know anything about Facebook, just Google or go to YouTube, setting up my first Facebook business page. That's it. And just follow the instructions. It literally takes 5 minutes to do. Once you set your page up, you're then going to want to set up your ad account. And again, everything is on the internet, so I don't want to spend too much time on this part because most of the people who are watching this already have, I'm assuming, a Facebook page, right? Okay, but what we want to dig into in this part is the creative part, like the actual ad itself. Like, what do you say in an ad? How do you know if it's compliant so you're not breaking any rules? And then from there, how do you actually create graphics even if you're not a graphic designer? Well, the secret is we're going to use ChatGPT to write high converting TSR compliant ads in minutes. So even if you don't know anything about ad writing, no problem. ChatGPT is going to do it for you. So the first thing you're going to see here is going to be the prompt. So ChatGPT will basically do anything you want, but you have to give it a set of instructions. So I've already created the instructions for everybody here today. All they have to do is just literally copy all this information. Now, the only thing you're going to want to change is the company name. So right here it says Demo Financial LLC. So, and of course, the website is demofinancial.com. So what you will do, and when you download this, you'll have one where it says, replace it with your company name. So literally just copy the entire prompt, and then you're going to open up ChatGPT. Okay, so let me just refresh this really quick. And when you log into ChatGPT, it might seem a little overwhelming, but don't worry. All you need to do is just do exactly what I'm going to cover here in today's video. You're going to click New Chat, and all you're going to do is paste that prompt right here. So I'm instructing ChatGPT what to do. What should we name our ChatGPT prompt here? I don't know. We'll maybe call him Bob or something. So look at what ChatGPT is doing. It's already spitting out the ad content for me. I don't know if you can see it. It might be small, but it says here, here's the hook, right? Most people don't realize how much inaccurate or outdated information could be affecting their credit until they take a closer look. So that's a hook that we can use in the ad. Right? Then it has the offer. The offer here says at Demo Financial LLC will help you understand your credit report, identify what may be hurting your score, and take steps to improve it right away. Right? And then the call to action. Message us to learn how your credit repair works and where to start. It even gives us ideas for images we can use. So as it's giving us information, this information is literally the information that we can copy and paste into the ad setup. So then that way we literally don't have to sit there and try to be creative or think of any of this stuff. So how long did that take me to copy and paste that prompt and get ads written? Look at it. It already gave me 3 variations. Took us less than 5 minutes, right? Now what's going to be the next part? We have the ad text. The next thing is now we need a visual. Well, I'm not a graphic designer. Maybe you're not a graphic designer, but guess who is? Bob, the AI is. So now all I'm going to do is tell ChatGPT, Bob, make me some images. So now I'm going to say, oh, look, it's already asking me right here. Would you like me to generate actual creatives for each of these descriptions next? I can produce them instantly in clean, meta-approved style. And I'll say, Yes, let's start with one ad first. And how about we make it more specific and say, let's target homeowners, people who want to buy a home, right? So then that way the image is going to be something related to that. And we can even tell ChatGPT what we want on the image. How about I say, I want add an image of a home and a woman smiling. And let's see what happens. And again, this is just a first step, but by doing this first step, you've already taken care of one of the hardest part in ads, which is figuring out, well, what are you going to say in your ad? What are you going to design for your ad? It literally takes a minute or two. Oh, look at that. And if we don't like it, maybe we can tell it, hey, can you put some cars in the driveway? Can we put, maybe change the person. Let's change the outfit, right? Or maybe you can throw your logo on there if you have a logo. So you now just literally have created your ad in a matter of 5 minutes. So again, I'm just showing you some screenshots. I did this last night just in case we weren't able to do this live. But so here's another example, one from Mortgage Ready. You know what I also love too for this bilingual, if you can get it done in Spanish. So if you serve the Spanish community, Hispanic market, you can create the ads in Spanish. So there's no excuses, guys. There's really no excuses. Okay, so that's step number one. Once you have the ad text and the visual, what's the next step? It's time to launch your first ad. So how do we do that? Well, traditionally, this is where everyone gets stuck. You're going to log into the Meta Ads Manager, which looks like this, right? And when you first see this, it looks really weird if you've never seen it before, and it could be overwhelming. And I will kind of just touch on this briefly, but then I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it through the CRC Marketing Hub. This is what the Ads Manager traditionally looks like, right? And I'm actually showing you a campaign here. This is one that we're actually running for a client. And so if you don't know anything about the Ads Manager, you're going to be really overwhelmed. Like, what do you mean? Like, what does this mean? What's impressions? What's frequency? What's link clicks and all that? Well, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. I mean, it is important, as you start increasing your ad spend, but all we're talking about here today is how to get your first ad set up so you can start getting sales immediately. But just showing you this example here real quick, this particular ad account, okay, he's spending some money. He does really, really well. The campaign that we're running right now is what we call a messenger campaign. And people ask me all the time, Max, what type of campaign should I set up to run ads for my credit repair business? Well, you're kind of limited in terms of what you can do because of a lot of the new rules that have come into place. So the best campaigns that I can recommend right now are going to be messenger campaigns, because this allows prospects and leads to communicate or reach out to you through chat, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, and start conversations through the DM. And so this client right now is literally spending $200 per day on their ads. Now, that might be way more than what you're going to do. And don't worry, when he first started working with us, he was only spending $20 a day, but since then he's been able to scale. But the point of what I want to show you here is he's generated, look at this. This is a current campaign, all right? Every conversation that's coming in, you can see he's had 153 conversations. These are people who've clicked on the ad, that started asking questions. How does your service work? How much does it cost? What is the process? These are just conversations, right? You can see about $4.75 per conversation. Okay. He's converting roughly around 10% of these conversations into actual customers. And we'll talk about that in a second. Now, the purpose of this part is to show you how to actually set up the ad. So once you have the ad image and the ad text, how do you actually build a campaign? Well, this is when we log into the CRC Marketing Hub, one of the most powerful tools that you have at your disposal. When you log in, if you haven't already activated yours, make sure you do. But this is what it looks like. This is a dashboard. You're going to see there's probably nothing on there just yet. So there's a marketing tab, and then you're going to see something called Ad Manager. Okay, so you want to click on that Ad Manager, and this is going to basically give you the ability to create ads on Facebook and Instagram without actually being logged into Facebook and Instagram. You can literally do it in 3 clicks. Okay, so the first thing you'll have to do is you got to connect your page first. Okay, so you have to have your Facebook page, as we talked about earlier. Once you connect the page, and I have just one example dummy page here right now, you just select the page you want to run the ad from. Once you do that, all you got to do is click Create Campaign. Okay, And again, we're running the ad on Meta. You do have the option to do it on LinkedIn as well or Google, but let's just focus on Meta right now. Meta is Facebook and Instagram. We're going to click next. Now, there's an option to start from scratch. Okay, so if you want to start from scratch, that's probably what we're going to do here. Let's just do that. But I also want to let you know there are some templates ready to go too. So if you're okay with that, I'll just show you some of the templates that are built into this. Let's just do that, right? If we just did that one really quick, hit next. And then all I got to do is type in the word credit repair. Okay, and what do you know? We've already got the ads here ready to go. Let's take a look at it. Wow, the ad's already there, right? And so all I got to do now is hit choose template. And it's going to create the ad, and I'm just going to go in there and just tweak it a little bit, and we're good. We're ready to publish, right? So let's see what we have here. Okay, so now let's change the objective. This is important. We don't want website traffic. Okay, the objective is going to be engagement for Messenger. Okay, engagement. So make sure it's very important that you guys do that. Now, this is probably the most important part when creating an ad, and this is where everybody who's ever had problems with their ads, meaning their ad account gets shut down, their ads keep getting disapproved. It's because they aren't declaring the special ad category. Like, that's so important, guys. It's such a simple thing, but it's so important. So you must declare what category your ad is in. It's obviously financial products and services. So we make sure that's selected. And if it's not selected, your ads will not be approved. Just so you know, it'll get immediately rejected. Okay. So once that's done, we now go to the ad set level, and then you can see, okay, we're going to connect the pages here. Okay, whatever your brand is should show up there. Okay, so obviously it's going to be a different brand than what you're seeing here. And you literally don't need to do anything here. Facebook's going to show the ad everywhere. So whether the person's on Instagram or Facebook or even other partner network websites, your ads will appear. So you're going to literally take your business from your own backyard and now become omnipresent. The next question people ask me all the time is, what should my budget be? How much should I spend on ads? Well, that's all relative to your business. If you are just getting started and you've never ran ads before and you only have a handful of customers, well, start small. You can start with $5 a day. $10 a day. Start small. And then what you're going to want to do as you start getting clients, start allocating a percent of every single customer, that revenue that comes in, towards marketing dollars, right? And then that's how you begin to scale. And if you're like, well, I'm ready to scale fast right now, I want to get a lot of customers. I want to get 100 customers as quickly as possible. Well, don't start at $5 a day. Maybe up the budget to $50 a day, right? And so it's all relative to your budget and where you are in your process as a CRO. But in this example, let's just go with $5 a day, okay? And then the next question is, well, where are you going to target? Well, as you know, certain states are going to be restricted, and you cannot advertise your credit business in every single state. So you need to do some research, and obviously, I'm not going to spend the time doing that right now, but what you're going to want to do is go through the resource that Credit Repair Cloud has on one of their blogs, which talk about the different states that require bonds and licensing and all that other stuff, and the states that don't, right? So you want to make sure you're aware of that. And then, of course, you can include that here in the specific location that you're going to target. Now, here's the $1 million question. What targeting do I use to get the right people to my ads? Well, things have changed in 2025. And so I will tell you that the number one change that's happened in advertising is AI. AI has literally revolutionized advertising and put everything on its head. So the Facebook algorithm knows exactly who to put your ad in front of. And so while a lot of people you'll listen to and talk to say, hey, you need to have all this different layered of targeting. You need to target homeowners. You need to target, for instance, we can target Credit Karma. So people who use Credit Karma, that's a big one. You see that right here? If we just go ahead and put one interest here and just make sure the audience is big enough, that's all you need. And the longer your ad runs, the AI that Facebook has, right, the algorithm, is going to take that one little instruction saying, I want people that are interested in Credit Karma, and start finding the millions of people that are actively either clicking on ads for credit or actively using Credit Karma or other websites. Anybody that has actual behavior where they're looking into something related to credit or finance, Facebook knows this. Even if someone mentions the word credit report, it's going to know, and it's going to immediately show your ad to these people. Does that make sense? So you don't need to get too bogged down with this. The last thing I'll do here is talk about the age range. And here's the thing. You cannot alter the age range in your ad when you are categorized as a financial service. Okay, it's just part of the way it is for whatever reason, but don't worry about it. I know some people might get so hung up on, well, I don't want 18-year-olds seeing my ads. No problem. Facebook's going to put your ads in front of the right people. And again, that's why it's important that when you run ads, that you don't just run it for a day and turn it off. Let the ad continuously run. The longer it runs, the more it optimizes, the better the leads you're going to get, and the more customers you're going to acquire. So I just wanted to go through this part. The last step is the ad itself. And so here's where we can actually just paste the information ChatGPT gave us. So let's just go ahead and grab one of the hooks that we like. We'll just use, let's go with this one here. Most people don't realize, okay, we'll use that one there. And I'm going to just paste that. Let's do it for the headline right here. That's a little long, actually. So we'll just do it right here. And then I'm going to copy the primary text with the offer as well in that same primary text. You know what this didn't give me was a good oh, there's the headline. Let's do it right there. Fix credit the right way. And that will be our headline right there. So I just copied the text from the ad that ChatGPT gave me into the ad level here. And now it's asking me to select a conversation form. You don't need to get too caught up with this because I'm going to teach you the X factor here. That's going to make all this run automatically. So when you get here, just simply click on create a new conversation form. And then just go ahead and hit add question and then just create a simple question like, how does it work? It doesn't matter what you put here. Doesn't matter at all. But for the sake of this process, it's going to require that you have a question here. And then for the response, just leave it blank. We just hit create and then just make sure you select that right there. Okay. So the last part is the image. We did create that image. For right now, just use the image that's here. But if you want to change the image, just click this little pencil. And then we can go ahead and change the image, no problem. Okay, so just a recap on setting up the ad. Let's just go back here to the top. Make sure you check engagement. And special ads category is financial products. That is the most important part of this whole thing. The second thing is making sure your page is set up, meaning it's connected here. And then whatever daily budget you want to have and what states you plan to target. Everything else, you can just leave blank. The last part is just copy and pasting what ChatGPT gave you for the ad text. If you want to change the image, you can. It's really up to you, no problem. If you don't like that image, like I can just delete that, hit upload, and then I can upload a new image. But for right now, we'll just keep it simple, right? Again, I could use the image that ChatGPT gave me right here if I wanted to, but for the sake of time, we'll just use this template. All right, so there, now we're ready. 1, 2, 3, lift off. Ready to publish, confirm. Congratulations, you just set up your first Meta ad. And how long did that process take? Well, if I wasn't explaining every detail here, it literally would take you 2 minutes, right? Literally 2 minutes. And then you can see the campaigns that are currently running. So if I hit publish, this is what's published right now. I was just doing just the testings earlier. If something failed, like for instance, it gets rejected, you will see it here and why. Okay. So now what? You got your ad going. It's going to take maybe an hour or so to get approved. Once it's approved, your ads are live, but we're not done yet. There's one last thing that we need to set up here in order to get this system dialed in. So that way you're not having to sit there and do everything yourself. So to do this, what we're going to do now is we're going to build an AI bot that's going to talk to all the leads that come in from these ads for you. So let's talk about how we're going to do this. So in your marketing hub, you'll see a tab that says AI agents. You're going to click on that. Okay. There's only 2 things that you have to do. Number 1, we're going to create a knowledge base. Now, a knowledge base, think of it like instructions for the AI. So this is going to be everything that you want your bot to know about your business. So I've taken the liberty of creating one for everybody that you can just borrow, okay? So I'm going to click on knowledge base, and this is it right here. So it just has a bunch of frequently asked questions that are typical, like what does your company do? How does your credit repair process work? How long does the process take? And so all these questions here are, questions and answers are designed to train our bot. Now, there may be some questions here that aren't listed, and I just created a generic one so that way everybody here who's brand new can just copy and paste. But guess who wrote this knowledge base? Not I. It was Bob the AI. So guess what? All I have to do, if I want him to update it, or her, it could be him, her, it doesn't matter, right? I could just copy this, throw it in here, and I can say, let's create, hey, can you update my knowledge base for my company? Fun times LLC. Just paste it. And now Bob the AI is going to rewrite my entire knowledge base for my brand. So again, that was just to show you how simple it is. So now all we're going to do here is grab the link. Okay, so to grab the link, you're going to simply click on these little dots here, and you're going to hit copy link. Now, one thing that you guys have to know is that you got to make sure that document is accessible. So you got to make sure it says anyone with a link. You can do viewer, because normally it's restricted, right? So you just got to change that. Once you have that, hit done, and now you're ready to train the bot. Here's how easy it is to train the bot. So we're back at the knowledge base section. Create knowledge base. We'll just call this, we'll just say, test as an example for now. Create. Now, all we're going to do is click on add source, click on web crawler, and I'm just going to paste that link right here. And in 5 minutes, the bot will have memorized everything in that knowledge base and will be able to answer any and every question that your leads that are coming in from your ads will have. And so it's fetching, it's reading, it's learning. But when it's all done, this is what it's going to look like. It'll basically say trained. So that's the first step, the last and final step, and then we're pretty much done here, guys. I'm having fun, and unfortunately, we're about to wrap it up already. It's happening so quick. I love this. We're going to go now and create the bot that will speak for you on your behalf through Messenger, right? So to do this, we're going to click on Conversation AI now, and then we're going to click on the tab Agent List. Now, Agent List, I already created one just to save us some time, but I will show you what to do really quickly. You're going to hit Create Bot, and all you're going to do is just click Guided Form Setup, General Q&A. We're not doing appointments per TSR, right? So everything's going to be done through. The purpose of this bot is to answer questions and then direct them to the website so the prospect can get see everything visually, right? So we'll hit continue, and then what we're going to do is going to ask you to create a brand voice. So this part right here may look a little overwhelming, but guess what? I already have it done for you guys. So all you have to do is just copy and paste. So that brand voice is right here. So you can literally just copy target audience and then just paste it. Target audience, customer pain points, copy here. Boom. And what are we doing? We're building the personality for our bot. And again, if you don't know how to do this, you don't have to know how to do anything other than copy and paste, because I've already done it for you to make your life easy. So once you've copy and paste all the details here, obviously put your company name, your website, your email, all that stuff. Okay. So now what we're going to do, this is what it's going to look like. The bot will be done. Okay. We'll set it up. And then you have the option to let the bot run on autopilot. So whenever a lead comes in, it's going to immediately respond. Or it could be a hybrid where it tells you a response and you can choose which one it takes. I personally like autopilot. Just let it run, let it do its thing. I'm busy doing other stuff. Let just for this example, let Jessica handle all the leads that come in. So now that we've got the bot set up, let's go ahead and train the bot really quick. So I've already uploaded the knowledge base here, and it knows everything about my business, right? So I'm going to ask Jessica a question like, how does credit repair work? So I'm going to ask the question, and the bot's thinking, and the bot is going to respond. Let's see. There it goes. Credit repair starts with reviewing your credit report, finding errors or unverifiable items, blah, 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 right? And it's asking me what my name is. Okay, let's ask another question. How much does it cost for the service? And by the way, do you see the thumbs up and thumbs down here? You see that? If you don't like the response, you can hit thumbs down, and then you can tell it what you want it to say instead. So you can just replace this with something else. So you can literally just tell the bot how you would respond, and it'll update it. So let's ask the next question. How much does it cost for the service? And the bot's answering, oh, here we go. We offer affordable monthly memberships with a discounted first month. Pricing is straightforward and transparent. For current promotions, you can check out, here's the website. So we can see now that the bot is directing people to the website. So this is why it's important that you have your website set up. And so now this conversation, what you're seeing here is exactly how the bot will respond when leads or people start clicking on your ads and starting conversations with your page. You just let the bot go ahead and take over from there. The last step, guys, is sending people like your website. So here's an example of a website that you would send someone to. Since you're not jumping on the phone ever with people, it's important that your website can answer their questions so you don't have to. So your bot can send people to your website. There could be a video of you talking and explaining your program. So that way, people get to know your brand. Obviously, you can explain some of the items that you have on your report. You can have your pricing here as an example, what's included, testimonials, which are very important, right? Even having FAQs, really important. So the whole point is to have a website that can really support that prospect in getting all the information they need to make the right decision for themselves. And by the way, if they still have more questions, what do we have right here at the bottom right? Oh, there's Jessica right here. How about we ask Jessica how it works? So my name's right? And then from there, you can start the process. So let's just go through this really quick. And we can always customize what information it's asking. And so how does it work, right? As an example. And so at this point, I'm not going to go through it here right now, but because this is an actual website from one of our folks here. But once that happens, that bot will now step in there, answer all the questions, and help that prospect make a decision.
For someone using Credit Repair Cloud, using our self-service sign-up flow, how do you connect the bot to your website and also getting them to close over our self-service sign-up flow tool as well?
It's a great question. We love the self-service sign-up tool. It just makes it so much easier with this whole process. So that in the knowledge base that we develop, you can just copy and paste, right? You just upload that, and in that we'll have the domain. So the brand voice, I don't know if you guys remember we talked about that, but the brand name, the website, the links, all that stuff will be included on that. And that's basically what's going to happen. So when the conversation occurs, you can actually have the bot give them the link. It'll know to send a link to enroll. And so typically what will happen is you'll send a link to the homepage of a website. That homepage should technically have everything that person needs to sign up, right? I personally don't like having websites that have so many pages that people have to click through just to find what they're looking for. At least with this setup, it should just simply be maybe one page, has everything that you need on there. That the bot can give the link to. And then once the person clicks sign up and what have you, at that point, there's one of two things you can do. I have some clients that will send them straight through to the Credit Repair Cloud self-sign-up page, which has basically all the steps, right? So that's one way of doing it. I have another scenario where what we'll do is when someone clicks sign up now, it'll pop up a form which will then ask them, name, email, phone number, which package are you interested in? And that way we take them off Messenger, we get their actual information. So that way we can send them emails and text messages to follow up with them in the event they don't purchase. Once they fill that form out, then it can redirect to the Credit Repair Cloud self-sign-up where they can then get enrolled. So the bot will direct them to the sales page. And then the sales page, the job of the sales page should be where it's structured in a way, the language should be clear to get that person to take the next step. And guys, that's pretty much it. I wish it was a lot more complicated than that to set up your first campaign, but I want to let you know for the folks who take this information, you take action on it. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get scared. I know I covered a lot of information here, but I put it all together for you so you can just download it, copy and paste. And just give it a shot. What do you have to lose? You get your first couple leads coming in, you see the bot working for you, you get your first couple of sales, and that creates that snowball effect, right? And so my goal here today was just to show you how to really use the tools that Credit Repair Cloud has put in place to really help empower you to grow your business.
That was incredible, Max. I love how simple you've made this. Let's dig a little deeper. What's the biggest myth about running ads that you'd love to bust right away?
Okay, so I think the biggest piece is you need a big budget in order for it to work. Not true. Most people that have come to us that were brand new in business started off with a small budget, $10, $15 in a day, and they were just diligent, and eventually they were able to create that snowball effect. I think that's the first one. And then the second thing, this is more for the experienced person. They're so focused on the cost per lead. They get obsessed with it. Like, I need a cheap lead. I need a cheap conversion in terms of the messages that come in. And I want to tell you that that's not the most important thing. When you start really running ads, what you eventually want to calculate is the cost to acquire a customer. So how much money does it take in ads to get a sale, right? And once you know that, that's the keys to the kingdom, Daniel. You can scale your business, right? So that's what it is. It's not cost per lead, it's cost to acquire a customer.
And to also understand your average lifetime value of a customer.
Huge. Huge, because it has to make sense. It has to be profitable, right? So you have to know your margins and all that. So that means your pricing models, you have to figure that out, which you guys do a great job teaching people how to do that stuff.
Max, I'm curious what you're typically seeing for the cost to acquire a customer. Like what should someone expect?
What really determines from what we see is it's really two things. Number one, it's going to be the price point. What are you charging? What's the cost? Because obviously if you're charging more, it's going to cost more to get a customer. That's common sense, right? So that's the first thing. The cost is going to have a major impact on your conversion cost. Number one. Number two, your website. Do you actually have a website that hits and builds trust, right? It needs to answer a lot of the questions that prospects may have. If you don't have a website that is effective at selling for you, since you're not jumping on the phone anymore or talking to these folks, you need to have a website that is forward facing, that can do the job. Those two things really will determine the cost to acquire a customer. So to answer your question, yes, on average, it's around $50 to about $110 to acquire a customer with paid ads.
Got it. But it's really worth it if you have a client that's going to spend months and months with you and you're charging them. What we see with people we talk to, that customer could be worth $600, $700, $800 plus.
Absolutely.
And how long you keep them on.
Absolutely. And that's exactly how you have to look at it, right? There's going to be a cost to get the customer, but the idea is that if you're delivering value, you're delivering service, that person's going to stay on board with you, past that first month, right? So typically 4 to 6 months is the average.
Max, when you look at your most successful clients, what's the one shift that separates them from everyone else?
I think for those folks is they really treat it like a business, not a hobby. They really are diligent about their numbers. So they're tracking everything. In fact, with my clients, we're talking, my bigger clients that are spending the big money, we're talking every week. Every week we have check-in calls and we're talking numbers and conversions and where they're at with everything with their marketing budget. So these folks really focus in on the metrics. They're not leaving things up to chance. So the clients that we've worked with that are doing multiple 6 or even 7 figures, they really look at this as a real business. They're on top of every detail when it comes to their marketing and sales and all that. And more importantly, they're coachable. They're willing to adjust and be flexible. And, even though they're successful and they have, lots of clients, they understand that they have to continuously improve and optimize if they want to stay competitive.
Sure. And what's the biggest mistake you see credit pros making with ads?
Well, a bunch. Well, first of all, a lot of the things that people are doing on the ads are borderline not compliant, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's like the first big thing, right? So you got to be careful. And I know it might be tempting when you see certain people running ads and it's saying certain things, and people think they have to do that in order to get leads, and you don't. I can tell you that you don't have to do that, and you'll still get leads, you'll still get customers. So I think it's really making sure that the marketing messages are compliant, that you're not over-promising. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes I see, is that everyone thinks they have to do that in order to win when you actually don't. The other thing, I think people think they have to be on video. They think they have to be, a camera and be an influencer in order to be successful and do all that. And so, I think that's a preference. I have some of my most successful clients. They had never shown their face like in any ad ever. And you wouldn't even know who they were if you walked by them in the street. So it's, you don't necessarily have to do that. You just got to find what's working for you, what you're comfortable doing, and then obviously just focus in on making sure that the numbers make sense. Because at the end of the day, marketing and sales, it's all about tracking the numbers. It's a numbers game.
I'd love to kind of ask a few questions that maybe taking it more to like advanced user. They're doing all the basics right. I'm curious with the clients you're working with, you ran through creating like a static image ad in the Facebook Ad Manager. Like, what are the ad creatives that are working the best today? For the clients that you're working with, what's that mix look like?
Static images. And I'll tell you why. Because static images are going to cut through the noise in the sense that everybody's doing video. Like everybody, right? And so if you want to stand out, you got to do the opposite of what other people are doing. And so what we find that works, where we're getting the best cost to acquire our customers using static images. And I know people don't want to hear that because they invested in having cameras and studio lighting and all that other stuff. Now there's a place for that. So I'll tell you how we blend it with the clients who are spending big money, especially when they start thinking in terms of seasonality. As we are approaching the holidays, we have to start understanding the strategy changes. Okay. So for those that are at advanced level, static images is going to get you the direct response, which is kind of what you want, because what happens with Facebook is when the minute a person clicks on a credit repair ad or any ad related to credit, Facebook will feed that person a million ads of the same service, right? So the goal is to get people engaging with your content right away, and that is going to be through clicking on an ad. As soon as that happens, that's where the video content can come in to start introducing your brand, educating them on how you're different. But what we find is that static image is going to get them immediately to respond, get them into your ecosystem so Facebook now can start tracking them, and then you start hitting them with all the value-based content on the back end. And then that's how you're eventually going to get that person to complete that customer journey from click to customer. And so as we go into the holiday season, and I know some folks who are going to watch this, I don't know when this is going to be published, but if you start turning ads on going into Black Friday, going into Christmas, and it doesn't work, well, it's not, don't be surprised and don't be frustrated. It's because it's the seasonality of the industry, right? People right now are thinking holiday, vacation, and Christmas presents. But this is when you want to turn up the value-based video content. And so you can run ads. This is where boosted posts, if you will, can come into play. I would not do that. I would just run it as awareness campaigns or engagement campaigns using video. And on the video, that's where you're really introducing yourself, your company, you educate, you're providing knowledge. And if you follow that framework, right, people are going to build that trust with you. And then, of course, you should still always have those static ads running. And those static ads should represent your offer. This is the offer right now. It's X dollars, get started, whatever it is. So then that way, when the time is right, boom, they'll see that and you get them to take action.
Got it. Amazing. The clients that you're working with that are starting to scale their budgets, like what we often hear in our marketing circles is you got to try tons of ad creatives to see kind of what works. So like, what's the process you're going through with your biggest clients and what are those different angles you're trying with them to be able to scale their ads?
Very good. So it really depends on who your audience that you want to go after. So I have a variety of different clients in the space. Some of them are focused on strictly people who want to buy a home, right? So they're going after homeowners only. And I think that's one of the best things that people can do, try to niche down to an audience rather than be all things to all people, niche down. However, I don't recommend doing that if you have a small budget. If you're only spending $5 a day, you don't really want to niche down. You just need to kind of go broad, right? But if you are spending, some significant money on a daily, weekly basis, then you're going to want to start segmenting your audiences based on what pain point that you're going to be speaking to. So as an example, homeowners are going to be one. So you can have an entire audience dedicated ads, all the creative, you have ChatGPT, building image creative, video scripting, whatever, all geared towards the pain points of folks that are in that category. The second category may be people who are looking for funding, business owners, right? So it really just depends on who that niche is that you want to go after. And then at that point, it really is quick. I mean, it really takes like 48 to 72 hours to know what's working versus what's not working. And so the problem a lot of people have is they're afraid to spend money. And so what you have to look at as you start getting advanced in the game, that a lot of what you're spending money on is more to like collect data. Right. So if you have to be okay spending $50, $100, $200 and get nothing in order to find what's going to work. Because once you find what works, that one ad could make you $10,000 a month. And I literally have a client that's been with us for 3 years and we're running, I'm not going to say the person's name because then I know everyone's going to go to their page and try to find the ad. There's one ad that we've been running for 3 years. That one ad last year generated $650,000 in revenue.
Wow.
One image. And I'll tell you, it is the ugliest ad that you could ever imagine. It is the one thing that you would never think would work, but that's part of the process. Here's what I want to say. Whatever we think is going to work, it's probably not going to work. And whatever we think is not going to work, guess what? It's probably going to work. So we have to just be willing to put stuff to the test, right? And again, for the purpose of my presentation today was not to go and teach folks how to, we call that rapid fire test or a rapid fire testing process. It was really to help people just get things up and running. But then that next phase, as you start scaling, yes, you're going to need to start learning how to test creative and figure out what to kill and then what to scale, right?
How many ads are you needing to test of them before you can really have something that's a winner that you can run for a long time? Like,
yeah. So usually I would say, again, it's all tied to their daily budget. So if you're going to just do, if you have a $5 a day budget, you can't really test like 2, 3, 4, 5 ads at a time. So here's what I recommend. If I want to give everybody a testing budget, I would say get like $200, $250. And you're going to segment that over like a 5-day window or maybe 2 weeks as an example. Your goal is to spend at least 25 a day for 10 days straight. Just do something like that, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to initially launch like 3 creatives or 3 images, let it run for 2-3 days, see which one's giving you or getting you the result. And the result in this case is going to be a conversation. That's just the first layer though, right? Then you're going to go ahead and try it again with another 3 creatives to see which one. And then after your test, you're going to see, okay, ad 1, ad 7, and ad 9 got me $4 conversations. Cool. But ad 6 got me a $10 conversation, but that conversation led to a customer. So what's more important? The cheaper conversation, the ad that got me the cheap conversation, or the ad that got me a sale? So that's where we start moving into the next phase of determining, well, we can run the ads that are cheap. Let's see if we can get some sales from that. But the one that was a little bit more, that's the one that got me a sale. So what happens if I spend more money again the next week testing that to see if I can get more sales? And before you know it, even though I'm paying more money to get a conversation going, but I'm getting way more customers with this ad. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, test to find out. But the problem with people who test are usually looking at clicks. Oh, my cost per click is so cheap. Oh, my impressions. I'm getting all these impressions for like $10. That's nice. That's called vanity metrics. But what really matters at the end of the day is going to be a conversion, right? And in order to know that, you have to obviously, like you said, run a bunch of different variations of ads. But don't get so hung up on the cheap cost per conversation. Ask yourself, which ad is getting me sales?
You mentioned that like niching down in like homeowners and business funding is one angle. Are there any other angles that you're seeing working really well for your clients today?
Well, what's working right now, and I'll tell you, I have no problem sharing this, is actually offering like something simple. Something simple like inquiry removals, right? Just actually marketing something like that, like a simple, specific, service as an example, and not making it outrageous, because the idea would be to get someone to enroll, even if it's for a small cost and what have you. Because once you get them in your ecosystem, they're your customer. Once they're a customer, guess what you can do? You can talk to them. And then you can educate them on all the other stuff that you can do for them. So one thing that we're seeing that's really working really well is running ads, offering some help with removing inquiries and stuff like that.
Got it. Are there other types of offers you're doing besides inquiries?
Well, yeah. I mean, primarily it's going to be, like I mentioned before, it's going to usually be geared towards higher intent people who have a goal they're trying to accomplish. So typically homeowners, that's got to be like the biggest one, right? Because everyone's usually, they're motivated to do what it takes to repair their credit. And then usually business owners who are trying to get funding. Those are going to be the two, I would say, best audiences to go after. Because everybody else after that, I mean, they want to fix their credit. They may need to fix their credit, but there's not necessarily like a urgent reason why. So you've got to find folks who have an urgent reason why to take action.
It makes total sense. I mean, you're talking more to the pain point of the person that's having the issue. You mentioned homeowners and business funding. Like, what would the trip offer wires look like for those specific cases?
Yeah, so we don't really use like the tripwire per se. So a lot of times, what a lot of clients are doing right now is they're doing these free school communities. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So they're getting people to basically come through the door, and then they can join the free school community. And once people are in the community, that's when they're getting access to all the value, all the information. And then, of course, people sign up for credit repair there, right? So that's one way people are doing it. The other way people are doing it too is actually using paid school communities, and they're offering, when you're a paid member, you get credit repair for free. So that's another kind of indirect approach that people are taking that seems to be working really well. The only downside of the school community piece is it takes work and time to build it. so that way you can support it. But it is it's a great mechanism to get conversions really, really easily.
Where do you typically see people start to run into issues, or when might they consider hiring someone like you or your company? Like, where do you typically see that graduation point from them doing it themselves?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Honestly, I think once people start spending $100 a day or more on their ads, which puts them like right around $3,000 a month, at that point, if you're not already proficient at running ads, you should definitely consider getting an agency in the mix. And it's not because you can't learn how to do it. I believe you can learn how to do anything if you really just put your mind to it. It doesn't require like superstar talent for this. It's more so about where's your time better invested, right? Do you want to be a marketer, or do you want to be a CEO, right? Do you want to work in your business, or do you want to work on your business? And so it's really about that. And so once someone starts spending, I'd say more than $100 a day, get somebody in the mix that can help manage that so they can optimize the budget. What their job is to do is to make sure all the metrics are hitting. And then, they're going to report to you and basically say, yeah, we generated XYZ conversions from our ads. And that's the best part, because now it's like you have an employee that's their job is to drive business for you, right? And again, your job is simply to spend the money and make decisions as to continue spending more or whatever, So usually $3,000 a month or more is when I would recommend start reaching out to the pros.
What's the typical result you get someone specifically on the spectrum that, for example, people that are watching that are just getting their business started, but they're ready to get additional help? Like, what's the typical result you get for someone like that? And also, if there's someone more experienced, they've been in the business for many years, what's the typical result look like for them?
So when we say a result, I would say that our actual goal is typically a 3 to 4x ROAS, return on ad spend. So whatever they spend on ads, we want to help them get 3 to 4 times whatever that spend is, right? So that's really the KPI that we're going to hit. If you don't know what that is, guys, that's watching, it's a key performance indicator. So that's what we look at. And of course, a lot of what happens when people come to us is they don't understand margins. So, they'll start spending money, and then when they realize, my cost for marketing, my cost for the agency, my cost to, and maybe at this point they have VAs working and handling the disputes, or maybe they're outsourcing whatever, they don't really have all their numbers figured out. So a lot of times, our goal, the results 3 to 5x ROAS. But really, it's not just that. It's the way we get them there is usually by optimizing everything that happens before that, right? So we look at their cost and we look at what they're spending money on, and then figuring out what we can do to kind of tighten things up a bit.
A little more advanced, and just out of my own curiosity here, when you're running all these messenger ads, do you ever have people graduate to using WhatsApp too, and also hitting audiences to start conversations there?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for most of my clients, we're not just using one channel. So typically what we'll do is we'll run ads using Messenger. We'll run ads like WhatsApp. We'll run ads, also lead form. And the reason why we do that is because when the lead comes in, and, we didn't get this deep into it, but you have the ability, for instance, when someone fills out a lead form, immediately starts a DM conversation or messenger conversation at the same time. Why is that important? Because now you can communicate with people through multiple channels. So maybe someone's not on Facebook at the moment, but they might be on Instagram, right? And so guess what? If you have them connected to your ecosystem, especially with the marketing hub you guys have, you can literally send messages across all the channels. So, that bot Jessica can send a message to Instagram, Meta, WhatsApp, text message, all in one shot. So yeah, I do recommend multi-channel.
With the AI bots you're deploying too, I'm curious to know, you've obviously built them to answer the most common questions. Are there ever cases where you're also handing that over to a team, and does that bot hand it over to a team, and also someone needs to step in as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the beginning, yeah. What will happen is if you guys, if you're the users of the Marketing Hub are going to be engaging and watching some of the conversations as they happen. So, and I recommend in the beginning, definitely monitor what it's saying, and then use that thumbs up, thumbs down option there so you can train the bot. When you set the bot up, it does give you the option to transfer the conversation to a team member. So you can definitely do that. But what I found specifically within this niche and industry, most of the questions are the same. Like maybe you'll have a curveball come here and there, but that's very, very rare. And I would say after about 50 conversations or so, every question that anyone's going to ask has been asked. So eventually the bot will be optimized enough to handle pretty much everything. The only thing that you may not like is how it responds, but that's just a thumbs up, thumbs down thing that you can fix.
Is there anything that you're advising your clients to do in their ad copy or their offer structure to make sure they're getting a quality customer in that's going to stick with them longer, that's going to pay higher quality rates?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's there's two answers I'm going to give you. So on the front end, there's a front end and a back end answer to your question. So the question was, how do I get a higher quality customer that will stick, right? We don't want to have everyone cancel the first month and then that's it, right? So what my clients will do, everyone puts the weight on the ad. The reality is most people, I'd say 99% of people don't remember what they saw on the ad. In fact, most people don't even know which ad of yours they clicked on. They just are clicking on ads because they're clicking on ads all day. It's what they do, right? So don't get too caught up on having the perfect ad with the perfect message to get everyone's and setting the expectation. That's not the purpose of the ad. The purpose of the ad is basically to get people to raise their hand and say, I'm interested in learning more. That's all it is. It's designed to pique interest, right? So are you looking to buy your first home and do you want to improve your credit? Oh yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay, click here. That's the purpose of the ad. Then they do that. Boom, the conversation starts. Now what's the purpose of the conversation? Get to know the person, ask them a couple questions, and this is where you can add some qualifying questions if you want. How soon are you looking to buy your home? What's your current score? What negative items are on your report? How soon are you looking to resolve these issues? Had you worked with another organization in the past? That's how you can start finding more information about this person. So what's the purpose of the bot? Build some rapport, pre-qualify the prospect, and then do what? Send them to the website. So here's the website. You can learn more. You can go ahead and get started. Now, what's the purpose of the website? To set the expectation. The website's job is to sell, right? And what is it? If you look at a website as your salesperson, what's the salesperson's responsibility? It's to inform, educate, build the trust, right? And more importantly, move that person into the next step, which is to make a decision, whether yes or no. So the website is your salesperson. And if that website, and I've seen some really good websites and I've also seen some really bad websites, and people wonder why there's a mismatch in expectations. It's because the website doesn't do a good enough job explaining the process. So what I tell all my clients to do, and this is something that can be, this is pretty simple and easy to do, is to have some type of video explainer. It could be a 1-minute video, 2-minute video. You can use AI that outlines your program, your process, your pricing, and onboarding expectations ahead of time before they even see the checkout button. So that's the first thing they see. And even on that video, you should mention who this is not for. This is not for people who are looking for an easy, quick fix. This is not for somebody who's trying to get results in 24 hours. So that's where you're able to really lay it out, for folks here that are visiting your website. Now, once they do that, and they've gone through that hoop. What's the purpose of the website now? After you inform, educate, answer questions, build trust and credibility, time to get them to check out. So once you can get them through those steps during the onboarding, that's your excuse. Pick up the phone and boom, wrap your arms around them. And that's when you set that expectation, what's going to happen. And here's what might also happen. You might find that this person is not a good fit. After you onboard, this is not going to be a good fit. Why don't we just go ahead and just go our separate ways? We'll go ahead and terminate, and then that's it. And that way you save everyone time. And that's the best way to do it. So if we understand that, and so everyone's trying to put all the weight on the front end, but every step of the funnel has a purpose. The purpose of the ad is to get someone to click. The purpose of the click is to start a conversation with the chat bot, right? Purpose of the conversation with the boss to get them to a website. Purpose of the website is to inform and educate, answer questions, to get them into action. The purpose of them enrolling, right, is so you can pick up the phone and talk to them and onboard them legally. And once you're on the phone with them at that point, the purpose of that call is to really, build that rapport and strengthen the relationship. And then, or worst case, decide it's not a fit. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's happened. That happens. That, in fact, happened with one of my other clients. We onboarded the guy and the guy just refused to do anything we told him to do. So we just refunded his little first work fee or whatever. And then that was it. I'm like, perfect. Great. The system works.
Incredible. Well, Daniel, I think I'm wrapped up with my questions. Anything from your side?
Yeah, let's switch gears. I'm going to ask you some rapid questions. Answer with the first thing that pops into your head, okay?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see if I can handle this exercise here. Let's try it. Okay.
What's your business superpower?
Optimizing systems, finding what clogs are in the pipe and try to clean it through so we can get it to run efficiently.
What's your business kryptonite, meaning the area you had to work hardest to improve?
I guess it would be focusing on something specific, because as entrepreneurs, we kind of have that shiny object syndrome. I want to do this, I want to do that. And can you do it? Yes, but should you do it? No. So being able to really focus and niche down and become really great at that one thing, that has been the kryptonite for sure.
What does business ownership mean to you?
Freedom. Being able to take complete control of your time, obviously how you get paid, creating your own economy. For me, independence and autonomy is the most important thing, where I can choose how I spend my time and where I spend my time and with who.
What drives and motivates you?
Being able to, two things, help other folks, because I understand what it's like to try to be successful in business and how hard it is. So I want to be able to equip and empower other folks with the knowledge and experience I have to help other people win if I can make a contribution in that way. And number two, be an example for my family, to show for my kids as an example that, their dad, helped people and was successful and all that. So that's what matters to me.
And what's your definition of success?
Being a good role model and living with integrity, doing things the right way.
If you could go back in time and tell yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
So I would say speed. Just understand that speed and intensity is how you're going to be able to create breakthroughs in your business, and just understanding the way success works. You're going to have to go through struggles and breakdowns in order for you to have that breakthrough. So embrace the breakdowns, because that's where you'll learn the lessons. And once you have those breakthroughs, eventually you'll be able to just rinse and repeat the process. Because as you go from where you are to where you want to be, it's going to be a constant cycle of evolution of breakdown, breakthrough, new levels of success. So fall in love with the pain.
Do you have any other advice for someone just starting out with a credit repair business?
Yeah, commit yourself, consistency. Don't treat this like a hobby. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. Make it a commitment, plant your flag, and really take this thing serious, because a lot of people need help, and you'll be able to make a lot of changes or help a lot of people change your life, and in the process change your life.
And what's next for you? What's the next big goal?
Well, I would love to be able to take what we've done here the last couple of years and just create even more success stories and just help more people continue to grow, just to continue to evolve as AI changes, as credit repair cloud changes, just to continue to be a resource for the community.
And how can people find your agency and reach out to you?
Our website, thefamousgroup.com. Famous is spelled F-A-M-O-S, so thefamousgroup.com.
And we're going to put the link down there in the show notes.
Max, I want to ask one other question too. That resource you mentioned at the beginning of the video, what's the URL for that again as well?
It's thefamousgroup.com/CRC slides.
And we'll put that down in the show notes as well. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Max. This was amazing. It was a lot of fun. And for everyone out there watching, if you're finding value in the things that we share on this podcast, click below to subscribe. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Also, give us a 5-star review or share the show. Help us to change more lives. If you have a question or a comment, drop it down below, because I read each and every one of them. I would love to hear from you, and I'll respond as soon as I can. And if you want to be generating leads 24/7, even while you sleep, check out my episode on building a 100% TSR compliant website. And if you'd like to start your very own credit repair business or learn how to earn extra income repairing credit for others, check out my brand new Start Repairing Credit Challenge. So sign up right now at startrepairingcredit.com and keep changing lives.